Political stability and social utility depends on such shared beliefs and concerted action of its members in furtherance of those commonly held principles. Any freedom of its members to vote as they please, independent of the evidence in it, which in the ultimate analysis is the source of sustenance. Nay, indeed, its very survival. Intra-party debates are, of course, a different thing, but a public image of disparate stands by members of the same political party is not looked upon in political tradition as a desirable state of things. Loyalty to party is a norm being based on shared beliefs. A divided party is looked on with suspicion by the electorate. It is natural for members to accept the opinion of their leaders and spokesmen on the wide variety of matters on which those members have no specialist knowledge. Generally, members will accept majority decisions in the party, even when they disagree. It is understandable, therefore, that a member who rejects the party whip, even on a single occasion, will attract attention and more criticism than sympathy. To abstain from voting when required by party to vote is to suggest a degree of unreliability. To vote against party is disloyalty. To join with others in abstention or voting with the other side smacks of conspiracy. That's exactly what happened here. And it started on the 21st of June. Clause B of para 2(1) of the 10th schedule gives effect to the principle and sentiment by imposing a disqualification on a member who votes or abstains from voting contrary to any directions. The provisions, however, recognize two exceptions. One, when the member abstains from the political party prior permission to vote or abstain from voting, and the other, when the member has voted without obtaining such permission, but his action has been condoned by the political party. This provision itself accommodates the possibility that there may be occasions when a member may vote or abstain from voting contrary to the directions of the party belongs. This in itself again may provide a clue to the proper understanding and construction of the expression any direction in clause B of paragraph 2(1), whether really all directions or whips from the party entail the statutory consequence, and whether having regard to the extraordinary nature and sweep of the power, the very serious consequences that flow, including the extreme penalty of disqualification, the expression should be given a meaning confining its operation to the context indicated by the objects and purposes of the 10th schedule. We shall deal with this aspect separately. It is thus submitted that it is the political party which appoints the chief whip and not the legislative party. The political party is headed by the leadership, and this factum of leadership is not in dispute. Organizational elections in Shiv Sena were held on 27/2/2018. Well, that's a wrong date. Actually, it's 23rd January 2018. And the leadership structure of the party was intimated to ECI, wherein it is clearly stated that Uddhav Thackeray is the Paksh Pramukh. It may not be out of place that under the Maharashtra legislative members' removal of disqualification rules, which I've
already sold.
So, I'll skip that. The whips are the directions issued by the political party and not the members of the legislative party or the leaders of the legislature. Then Erskine May says, whip serves as an intermediate between the leaders and parliamentary membership of their parties in order to keep each informed of the views of the other, which is what I was mentioning to your lordships.
This is the issue.
Made great efforts to bring them. The phrase adopted by Burke caught public fancy and soon became popular. Then let us kindly come to 183, skip the 5-6 lines on top, and the sentence on the right side, they keep members supplied with information. They were talking about whips. Joseph has that. They keep members supplied with information about the business of the house. What happens traditionally is, the members do not know the business of the house because the business of the house is decided by what is called the Business Advisory Committee. And only some members of the House of political parties are members of that committee. So every week, couple of times, probably every week, a meeting takes place as to what should be the business for the next week. So that's decided, and then it is announced in the House. On that basis, the whip then informs the members of the House that this is going to be the business. These are the bills that are to be debated. This is the position that we have to take on the bills. Therefore, you please prepare your speeches in the context of the position of the party. That's the job of the whip. Now, it's not that. That is not the job of somebody who says, I am a group leader and I will decide. That is why the whip is appointed by the political party, for that very reason.
On general parliamentary business, how specific are the whips? I mean, this is not unrelated to this case. I mean,
a WhatsApp message is sent to us. Three lines at the end. Underlining, otherwise you have to be present, otherwise action will be taken against. And you come and vote, and this is how you have to vote. 3-line whip will come, vote for this bill, vote against this resolution. So each one under a WhatsApp, that message is sent. So we have to be present. They're very generous, because while we argue our cases, proceedings are going on, so we're not present. So they don't trouble us too much.
Special exemption 9 schedule. Special 9 schedule.
That holds for Mr. Jetmanani also, right?
Well, my personal opinion, this is my personal, I don't want to say. The fact of the matter is, if you want to practice, you should practice. You want to be in Parliament, devote your time to Parliament. That should be. Otherwise, we can only perform one function, we can't perform both. Anyway, that's another matter. No, it's not that. It's what happens is that the key issues of the party are nowadays before the court. And they want us to be here. And slowly Mr. Jetmalani will realize as the burden increases that he might also have to do that.
Just one second aside about coming out of the halls of Parliament, a very leading left leader mentioned inside the House that lawyers, chartered accountants, doctors and other similar people should not be in Parliament. They should consider it on their profession. Mr. Jaitley and I were talking in the lobbies once. So when he came out, a good friend of ours, we told him that you want Parliament only to consist of unemployed and unemployable persons.
Don't say that. Don't say that publicly.
This is what happened. He said it generally for a lot of us. He says, I'm taking his example. He said it for a large class of professionals, not lawyers alone. So there is a certain amount of input you bring in if you are otherwise also gainfully employed.
That's true. But lawyers in many jurisdictions are not allowed to do both things. That's also true, but that's neither here nor there. The keep members supplied with information about the business of the House and enforce party discipline, being constantly in touch with the members in the lobbies of the House, the whips acting as intermediaries between the leaders and the rank and file of their parties, keep the former in touch with the currents of opinion, not only within their own party, and thereby nip the incipient revolt in the bud, but also to some extent with other movements of opinion inside the House. And it is through the whips that members of a party come to know about their leaders' views and the plans into which the leader thinks it is necessary or expedient to initiate them. The whips are the active agents within the parties, a channel of communication whereby one party negotiates with another concerning topics of debate or conduct of business in the House. In the handbook of the working of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, the background of origin of whips is noted in this regard. It is stated that whips who are drawn from various political parties are vital links in the internal organization of parties inside the legislature. The expression whips is derived from the, we don't have to go into that. Then Riley comes the House of Commons Library. That also goes to Edmund Burke. We've already read that. Let's not waste our time on it. Then kindly see further, para 186. Further is elucidating the duties of the whip, it is stated as follows. The primary role of the chief whip is to get the government's business through parliament, and in particular to secure the government's majority in votes on its legislative and policy programs. The duties of the whip include keeping MPs and peers informed of forthcoming parliamentary business, as I told your lordships, maintaining the party's voting strength by ensuring members attend important debates and support their party in parliamentary divisions, and passing on to the party leadership the opinions of backbench members. The note also relies upon Rogers and Walters. Let's leave that. Finally, come to the Law Commission. This is very important. Page 1, para 188. The Law Commission recognized the importance of the whip necessarily by abiding by the whip and observed in para 3.444 as follows. Necessity for abiding by the whip. In such a case, the endeavor should be to strengthen the political parties by providing for internal democracy and internal structures rather than to weaken them. Inasmuch as we are recommending in this report insertion of a new chapter governing the political parties, including the provisions ensuring internal democracy, internal structures and transparency in the conduct of affairs, there should be no objection to strengthening of the political parties so that the will of the majority prevails in a political party. Freedom of speech is undoubtedly precious, but when a person becomes a member of the political party, accepts its ticket, and fights and succeeds on that ticket, he renders himself subject to the discipline and control of the party. It should also be noticed that when a person applies for the ticket of a political party, he knows and expected to know about the leadership, internal working, policies and programs of the party. He must also reckon with the fact that in future, the leadership may change, policies and programs may change and so on. If he with his eyes open applies for and obtains the ticket and contests and wins on that basis, he cannot plead later that he does not agree with the leadership or policies of the party. This is all this argument that was made, freedom of expression, we have a right, we feel that your policies are wrong, you have deviated from ideology. You knew the ideology. You knew that he is the Paksh Pramukh. You knew what he stands for. You took his ticket, you were minister, you never raised your voice, and suddenly in Assam you go to say that no, we are very, very concerned about it. Prior to 21st of June, where is a single statement that is on the record of this case? Not a single statement. That's because you got lured into it. That you thought that maybe by using your majority in the legislature, you could actually topple the government and become the chief minister. So then it says, brothers, any difference of opinion must be first ventilate and fight within the party. Kindly see that. Your Lordship asked me that question, then what does he do? He has to ventilate it within the party, call a meeting. Then, brothers, more important, the membership of the House does not become his private property, nor can he trade in it. How prescient, brothers, these words are. That's not his private property, nor can he trade in it. I mean, I'm sure, brothers, he wasn't in Assam for cleansing his conscience, brothers. There were bigger issues that were to be dealt with in Assam, somewhat akin to some ground issues. Anyway, it is a trust that he is in the members of a trustee. He cannot also say that he will take advantage of the name and facilities of a political party, fight the election on the ticket of that party and succeed, but he will not subject to the discipline of the political party. This is simply unthinkable, besides being unethical and immoral. He has to abide by the party discipline within the House. He might fight within the party to have his point of view or policies adopted by the party, but once the party takes a decision one way or the other and issues the whip, he shall have to abide by it or resign and go out. This, in essence, tells you, Malads, what the contours of the conduct of a member of the legislature in the House should be. And in what circumstances, and there are only two, that he can actually disobey the whip. One, he can take the permission of the leader, and two, Malads, he says something contrary to the whip and the party condones it. And this Law Commission report led to the 91st Constitutional Amendment, deleting paragraph 3. So in practice, the connection between the political party and its elected legislators is maintained by the office of the chief whip, who in his essence is the representative of the political party amongst legislators. Then Perumal versus that, just kindly have a look at the paragraph 12, but I won't read the whole thing. The paragraph starting second paragraph, the whips have to know their men. Your Lordship has that paragraph?
Yes.
The whips have to know their men. This involves a close contact with all members and knowledge of their interests, special aptitudes, qualities, and potentialities. Whips take these aspects into account while sending list of speakers to the chair in the interest of quality of debate and deliberations. They keep members of, I cannot go to the speaker. No member of the legislature can go to the speaker in Parliament, Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, that I want to speak. He has no choice in the matter. The party will decide who is the party, It's the leader. That on this issue, on cooperative societies, my member in the legislature knows more about cooperative societies than somebody else. Therefore, allow him to lead the debate. In finance, who leads the debate in Rajya Sabha? Mr. Chidambaram. Who decides that? The party. So, each person has his expertise on education, on telecom. There'll be different people in the House who will be espousing the cause of that subject matter because he has expertise. And who decides that? Not even the leader. Leader will put up the name to the party president, or the UPA chairperson or the party. And then they will say, okay, now you let him decide, let him debate. So this whole argument and sitting in Assam, I can throw you out, I can throw the whip out, and I can change the leader of the House, and I'll proclaim myself to the leader of the House. What is the speaker going to do when you send it back to the speaker? And this realization dawned 2 years afterwards, when he was he was a minister and all that. So being constantly in touch with the members of lobbies of the House, the whips acting as intermediaries between the leaders and the rank and file of their parties, keep the former in touch with the current opinion, not only within their own party and thereby nip the incipient revolt in the bud, but also to some extent with other movements of opinion. And it is through the whips that members of a party come to know about their leader's views and the plans into which the leader thinks it necessary expedient to initiate them. The whips are the active agents within the parties, a channel of communication whereby one party negotiates, and I'll leave that out. Then, kindly come to the next paragraph, para 13. The chief whip is the eyes and ears of the leader of the party, so far as the members are concerned. He conveys the wishes of the leader to the members of the party and keeps the leader informed of the current opinion in the party, as also the moods and inclinations of individual members when these deserve special notices. During sessions in his capacity as advisor to the leader, he normally meets the Prime Minister not only on one set interview daily, but also several times in the course of the day for brief consultations. Why, what happens is there is hangama in the House. People are going to go to the well. You immediately have a meeting with the leader. What should we do? Because the House is adjourned for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. You go back to the leader, you have a quiet meeting with us. The whip will have a quiet meeting. A decision will be taken, conveyed to the legislature. So to say, that I am 40 members of the legislative party, I can do what I like, I am a separate group, I am a separate entity, I can remove you, it's unthinkable in parliamentary democracy. Unthinkable. And this per se, that's why I use the expression per se, is voluntarily given up membership of the party, per se. Apart from making the House and keeping essentials for transaction of business, the chief whip has the whip hand in shaping the course, tone and tenor of debate on special occasions, for he selects the speakers from his party and hands over a list to the speaker for facilitating the process of catching his eyes. The responsibility of keeping everybody at his post and keeping his party united, strong and well-knit falls on him. He selects members for the select committees and other parliamentary and government assignments, keeping in view the background, experience, aptitude, qualifications of members of his party. This gives him, supposing a select committee is to be formed and a person to be nominated. Who decides that? If 40 members of the House will say, no, because we are 40, we nominate this person? No. The whip will tell the speaker that this is our nominee on this select committee or this joint committee or the standing committee. So this gives him wide power of patronage, which comes handy in keeping with party members amenable to his influence. It is thus clear from a reading of the aforesaid that the whip forms an important link, an umbilical cord between the political party and the legislators. The whip enforces the directions of the political party. Then, there is a discussion about how the term political party as well as actually was not there in the constitution earlier, or not constitution, even otherwise was not there in a statute. Then 29A of the representation. I don't have to go through the history, we are short of time and I don't want to take time unnecessarily. My learned friend can, if he wishes, to deal with some of this. Then kindly come to... Well, there is a judgment of this court in 2018, volume 9, SCC. 2018, 9 SCC, page 100. This is Sailesh Manubai Parmar versus Election Commission of India. Yes. Whereas in this case, they wanted to introduce nota option in the Rajya Sabha elections, for elections to the Rajya Sabha. In that context, at page 116, the judgment starts at 100. I just read one paragraph, paragraph 19 at page 116. Page 116, paragraph 19.
Yes, we all are.
Yes, I just read it. The aforesaid passages throw immense light on the distinction between direct and indirect elections, and especially on the concept of indirect election, which encompasses proportional representation. There is voting by open ballot, and it has been so introduced to sustain the foundational values of party discipline and to avoid any kind of cross-voting, thereby ensuring purity in the election process. They have been treated as core values of democracy and fair election. It is worth to note that in a voting for members of the Council of States, the nature of voting by an elector is a grave concern. It is because in such an election, there is a party whip and the elector is bound to obey the command of the party. The party discipline in this kind of election is of extreme significance. For that is the fulcrum of the existence of political parties. It is essential in a parliamentary democracy. The thought of cross-voting and corruption is obnoxious in such a voting. In this context, we may refer with profit to the 10 paramullets 22 at page 118. 23 actually. No, let's deal with 20. So we have to cut off this thing. The time is short. 23 at page 118. If I may read, in a democracy, the purity of election is categorically imperative. The democratic body politics, as has been held in Manoj Narula, stipulates that the quintessential idea of democracy is abhorrent to corruption and law's emphasis on prevalence of genuine orderliness positive propriety, dedicated discipline, and sanguine sanctity by constant affirmance of constitutional morality, which is the pillar stone of good governance. The purity of democracy does not withstand anything that has the potential to create an incurable chasm in the backbone of a democratic setup. The law is meant to eradicate the same. When one analyzes the exercise of choice nota in the voting process of the Council of States, where open ballot is permissible and secrecy of voting has no room, and further where this discipline of the political parties matters, it is clear that such choice will have a negative impact. That's all that I wish to state. Is coming back to. So I skipped that. And I come now to. I have dealt with the facts now, and I don't want to take too much time now. Then, now I come to the governor's decision.
Chapter 9.
Yes, chapter 9. I'm not going to intra-party decisions, I'll just save time. Come to chapter 9. Now, this is, as I said, an issue that has arisen for the first time. A member of the BJP,
where does chapter 9 begin? Page 100?
Sorry, page 100.
Page 100.
I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that.
Yes.
Well, that's 235. It is respectfully submitted that the exercise
is the 8th of June decision of the governor.
Sorry?
It's the 28th of June decision of the governor. Decision of the governor, which
to invite Shinde,
that's right, 28th of June.
30th.
30th. Both, because there are
28th is our trust vote. We do not, go to the trust vote.
30th.
30th, he is sworn in. Correct. Now, your Lordship knows that under the Constitution, there are areas where the governor has discretionary powers, subject to 3 exceptions which are given in Nabam Rebia. This is an area when, in the beginning, there's an election that takes place. Who is to form the government? There is enough discretion with the governor. He will see as to whether there's a pre-poll alliance, and if the pre-poll alliance has majority, he'll call the leader in the normally. There are exceptions. There's a if he doesn't get a pre-poll alliance majority, he'll call a post-poll alliance. And if not, he'll otherwise see if a majority can be cobbled up by a leader who has the confidence of the House, who may have the confidence of the House. That discretion is always with him, Now, we are talking of the discretion of a governor post the formation of a government. That's the first issue. So, post the formation of an elected government, if 10 people go to the governor, what is his discretion in the matter? Because the governor has to ascertain, one, that look, these people along with others, the leadership that I will administer the oath to will have the confidence of the House. That's one criteria on the basis of which he'll swear in him. 2, he will ask the question, which party do you belong to? He's naturally have to ask. I am sure he will know that before even he asks that question. So he knows, that the Shiv Sena is not before him. On the 30th, he knows Shiv Sena is not before him. So what is his discretion in administering the oath of office to Eknath Shinde? Except the fact that all the 39 rebels will support, all the BJP along with the 39 rebels will oust the government and will support the new chief minister. He also knows, Maharaj, there is a disqualification petition pending. So your lordships will have to decide for the first time in situations of this nature when there's already an elected government in place and there is a taint, alleged taint of a certain set of members pursuant to the fact that disqualification proceedings are pending, whether the governor can exercise discretion in a manner which will topple an elected government, not await the outcome of the disqualification proceedings. The governor could have done two things. Could have said, I know for a fact that there is a disqualification notice against you all, or against 16 of you. You who want me to administer an oath of office to want to be the chief minister. The court has given you time till the 12th of July. Please first file your reply on the 12th of July. See the outcome of those proceedings. And if there is no taint as far as your membership is concerned, I will administer the oath of office to you. That, I think, is a constitutionally moral path that the governor ought to have adopted. Because institutional morality demands that he follows that path. The Constitution, in fact, persuades him to follow that path. Why? Because there's an elected government in place, of which he was a member. He himself. Eknath Shinde was a member. So why would a governor administer oath except that he himself knows that the elected government will be toppled? That's a very serious matter according to me, Maharaj. You looked at the Sarkaria Commission report, Maharaj, your lordships will find no such eventuality, Maharaj, considered. The governor wished...
Eventualities are to be considered on experience.
That's true. That's true. Because ultimately, democracy only thrives when institutions uphold the sanctity of the Constitution. And quite frankly, Maharaj, and this is again my personal opinion, no court, no institution should balk from that, should withhold its hands from that. Because ultimately it's the message sent by court, by institutions, that we are above the vicissitudes of fortune that come with politics. That's the only way, Maharaj, to gain respect within the public and to uphold the values for which our forefathers gave us this republic. But unfortunately, that's not to be. So, Maharaj, here there is a big conundrum, very big conundrum. So first, Maharaj, the 27th order, the 29th order, then the governor. Even the governor could have stopped it. When he even chose not to stop it. So your lordships will have to evolve some principle in the context of, because this, if Nabam Maharaj is not overruled, this will happen time and again. And the governor will play, I'm sorry to say, Maharaj, I have seen the governor, it happened in Arunachal. Played ball. And we have seen, Maharaj, and I mean no disrespect to the institution of the governor, we have seen governors performing a more proactive role as institutional heads within the state, which has created disturbances within the polity. So, therefore, how your lordships will evolve a principle to ensure that constitutional morality is upheld is something that I leave it to your lordships. I cannot give an answer. I can only say in the facts and circumstances of this case, the governor should not have administered the oath of office to Eknath Shinde because he was not the leader of the Shiv Sena. There was a pending disqualification petition against him. He belonged to the Shiv Sena, but had dissociated himself with the Shiv Sena. And he had no locus. Who was to go to supposing whether the Shiv Sena was to form a government with the BJP, who was to go to the governor? The leader of the Shiv Sena. That's the Paksh Pramukh, Uddhav Thackeray. It is he who would represent the Shiv Sena before the governor and say, okay, we want to join hands with the BJP. In what capacity was Eknath Shinde before the governor? In which capacity? And in which capacity did the governor accept or give him audience and administer the oath of office? And let us kindly see, Shinde has never disputed that because he says, I am the Shiv Sena, and he has never disputed that Uddhav Thackeray is the Paksh Pramukh. He is not disputed even today. So in what capacity did he go to the governor? Where did he get authority from? Not from Uddhav Thackeray, not from the Paksh Pramukh.
Yes.
In fact, Maharaj, what the governor does in this process, it revives the concept of a split and allows it to be alive before him, even though para 3 has been deleted. Gives it legitimacy. Now, all this is violation of 2(1)A. All this per se, Maharaj. What is the speaker to decide? From the 21st of June, right up to 30th of June when he's sworn in, each act amounts to voluntarily giving up membership of the party. Each act. And under the 10th schedule, he has no defense. Because there's no amalgamation. May I, Maharaj, your lordship, my lord, the Chief Justice asked me a very pertinent question, Maharaj, as to what a person should do if he's unhappy. Maharaj, and actually the answer lies in a judgment of the Election Commission, Brahmanand Reddy, which was, Maharaj, came up in SLP to Supreme Court. SLP was dismissed. But it's, just give it to my
That's
lord.
the judgment of which court? That's the judgment of?
Of the Election Commission.
Election Commission.
Yes. Just give it to my lord, please. Well, when you proclaim that you continue to be member of the Shiv Sena, you also proclaim that you are working under the constitution of the Shiv Sena. Naturally, you must assume that. And the constitution of the Shiv Sena allows you to voice your opinions in the form of a dissent or otherwise, and to get support from primary members of the party or from the Pratinidhi Sabha, as well as the Karyakarani, so that you can actually articulate your concerns. And so it is in this context, Malats, this order was passed by the Election Commission, and this judgment, Malats, I want my lord's attention to what paragraph, what have you given? Yes, it is here. Which 72, Malats. Yes. Mullahs had a couple of questions for me.
There are just two things. Much of the submissions, I don't know whether they will join issue with you.
Yes.
Straightforward from the interpretation of the constitution and the provision. Two aspects, one relating to the leadership issue, which is staring in the face of the speaker at least. That is one aspect of the matter. How does one deal with it?
Other is?
That's what is staring in the face of the speaker.
Yes.
Leadership issue,
Yes.
particularly in the context of the legislators.
Correct.
Now, another aspect I want your exposition on that is that legislators double up as the political leaders in every district.
Yes.
They are the same legislator.
Yes. Yes.
Here he is a legislator. In a district, he is a leader.
Yes.
And normally we all know that in the district, the legislators are the top leaders,
Correct.
invariably.
Correct.
An MLA in a district is not.
Correct.
So therefore, he wears the hat of a political leader and he comes into the legislative assembly and he is a legislator there.
Yes.
So therefore, he in a way represents the political perspective also
Sure.
while he is performing the function of a legislator.
Sure. Sure.
So therefore, the question arises as to how, whether there's some kind of an overlap with respect to the position of a legislator as a person representing the political part of the political party.
Yes.
At what stage and what is the test to determine it? Sadiq Ali is in a different context. But of course, substantially, what you have told us that the batting order or for the speaker is first to determine the 10th schedule issue. But in the context of these two factors, I just wanted your...
Well, what happens is, I tell your lordships, I represent a particular assembly constituency in a state. The nature of that constituency may be entirely different from the nature of another constituency 100 miles away. The nature of issues may be entirely different, Mullahs. As your lordship knows, Mullahs, the spread of the other backward classes and constituencies are different in different states, different in one state also. The nature of the population, the SC/ST may be more, SC may be less, backward may be more. Mullahs are highly complex issues. But when you come to the legislature, you're not looking at your constituency. You're looking at the issues of the state and the politics of the state in the context of including the nature of the problems that you may face in your constituency. So, Mullahs, in fact, the interests of the legislature, when it comes to the interests of the state, are subjugated. The interest of his district or his particular parliamentary constituency is subjugated to the larger interests of the state. That's why it's the whip who decides what should be done, what should not be done. But you are right, there is an element of interplay, Mullahs. But he can't, on the context of that element in his own interest, qua his constituency, say that I will not obey the whip of the party. That's the nature of the animal, Mullahs. And therefore, Mullahs, he has to do that. As far as the speaker is concerned, Mullahs, the speaker has no choice in the matter. Speaker has only conveyed what the party conveys to him. Speaker has no individual right to say you are the whip or you are, I now proclaim you to be the whip. That can't.
Here there is no overt act in the nature of the legislator calling the members of the party to have a prior meeting and thereafter the legislators themselves...
Even that can be done. Well, according to me, even that can be. Supposing all of them said, and the party whip said otherwise.
You are saying that the legislators can sit together and take a decision?
Yes, Mullahs, because they will have to obey the party.
No. Can the legislators sit together and say that now we are the party?
No, they can't. They can't. Well, then there's only merger, Mullahs. That's the only difference is paragraph 4, Mullahs. That can't be. Well, this is the conundrum, Mullahs. This is a conundrum which was
But the same legislators don't sit in the parliament, but go out and call for a meeting.
Of the political party, yes.
As a political party.
Only, yes, they can.
As if it's under the banner of a political.
That they can't do, Mullahs. That they can't do.
But then if they are the majority?
No. They are majority in the legislature, Mullahs. They are the majority in the legislature, there's no doubt about that. But they can't call a meeting of the political party because they're bound by the
You'll
constitution
have to
of the
slightly
party.
also explain to us how in Sadiq Ali they got over this problem. Just
Well,
explain.
Sadiq Ali, I'll tell you Lordship straight away. Sadiq Ali, it's Congress J and Congress O. And the court said in Sadiq Ali that both Congress J, both in the organizational wing as well as in the legislature, in parliament, have a majority. So there's no issue at all.
Then that Kerala money.
Both
Both you have to see.
you have to see. The organizational wing as well as the not one.
Was additional. So
That's correct. That's correct. Correct.
there were.
That's right. So that's what they
And also identical in that, I don't know what that name in Kerala, that money, what is that?
Muni
Interest
Krishnan.
money.
Muni Krishnan.
Some of the-
Money.
Some matter.
Kerala Congress. I'll find out. We'll find out.
Recent
But the
decision of
question
Kerala High Court.
is they are bound by the constitution. There's a constitutional procedure given by the party constitution through which they can articulate their opinions, which is exactly what Brahmanan says. This is why I was reading it.
Let's read.
Precisely the point. Paragraph, page 12, Madhaj, at the bottom. No, about 10th line from the bottom, to take a view that the commission, page 83 of the compilation. My Lord, the Chief Justice also asked me that question. I'm trying to answer that. Page 83, Malaj, about 10th line from the bottom of that paragraph, to take a view that the commission, Lordship has that?
Sorry, space.
Physical.
Sorry. I was just thinking.
Okay.
You can mail it to the court master. They will mail it to us.
There was some problem in email going to the court. Therefore, I could not.
Yes, even the airdrop is not coming. You see.
Some signal issue.
Which paragraph?
Para, Malaj, 83, 10th line from the bottom, to take a view that the commission, while deciding cases falling under paragraph 15. My Lord, sir, Malaj, as your Lordship knows, paragraph 15 says when factions have arisen pursuant to a split in the political party. '72 at 83, Malaj.
To take a view.
My Lord, the Chief Justice has that?
Yes.
Yes. To take a view that the commission, while deciding cases falling under paragraph 15 of the symbols order, should not be concerned with the party constitution, would be to introduce utter chaos in the functioning of the political parties in the country, and the operation of the symbols order would be rendered a plaything between the various shades of opinion or groups in the political party. It cannot be gainsaid that a group claiming to be a particular party must abide by its own constitution,
Yes.
which imposes contractual obligation on its members unless it is shown that a clear impasse had been reached where the functioning of the party could not be carried out in accordance with its own constitution. To ensure a healthy standard of political life, the Commission should not lay down any procedure which will make it easy for the established political parties to break up at the slightest pretext. The Commission considers that a group or section which wants to form a rival group within a party must declare itself a rival group and assert that there has been a split in the party. It must show that it has exhausted all the remedies available to it under the constitution of the party to assert its majority, but that the other group has frustrated its efforts whimsically or capriciously and is not itself function in accordance with the provisions of the constitution of the party or democratic norms. The rival group must also show that it has no alternative but to come to the Commission to establish its majority in the party. So the answer, Malas, to the question is, you have to, under the constitution, go to the party. Make all efforts. Raise your voice, articulate your opinion. Get a membership of a substantial number of members of the party. They may not be a majority, even minority of the party with you. Claim then that there is a split in the party. attempt to change the leadership. You can't do that. If you can muster up majority, you will become the party. If you can't muster up majority, then you say there's a split in the party. Then the election commission will decide who gets the symbol. And that also from a future date, Now, the question here, unfortunately, is there is no meeting of any party. Meeting is in party in legislatures in Assam. What is the political party and the members of the political party in Maharashtra have anything to do with the meeting legislators in Assam? And it's not even their claim. So you don't call a party meeting. You have not called it prior to 21st of June. Now, what's very interesting is that in Sadiq Ali, that's a principle that your lordships must keep in mind. The court said that I will not go into the actions that have taken place after there has been a dissonance between two factions, because each section has thrown out people in the other section and vice versa. I will take the position prior to that. That is, what was the state of the party prior to that? In this case, prior to 21st June. There's nothing prior to 21st June. There is no split. There is no attempt to split. There is no talk of split. So, how does paragraph 15 come in? Paragraph 15 comes in only when there are two factions pursuant to a split. There is no case of a split. The case of a split happens on the 18th of July, according to the petition before the Election Commission. We are dealing with disqualification on 21st of June. And 18th of July, there is no meeting of the party. There is no notice, there is no venue, there is no time, there is no evidence of any meeting. Because if there is a meeting of the party, notices must also come to us because we happen to be the party. No notice even to their own people is shown. So, the question of paragraph 15 also doesn't arise. That we'll argue at 3:30, but this is the problem. So you don't go by the Constitution. You don't claim to have a split. You say the legislative party or 38 of them are the political party. And then, you go with the BJP and get yourself anointed as the Chief Minister of the state. Now, I'll quickly go through what I have said so that finish it. I'm at para 235. It is respectfully submitted that the exercise of discretion by the governor in inviting a person to form the government must be in accordance with constitutional provisions and values. While democracy and rule by majority is part of the constitutional scheme, the prohibition on defection is equally a constitutional mandate. Hence, while according respect to the principle of rule by majority as envisaged in a democracy, governor must have regard to the constitutional prohibition on defection. Consequently, the governor is duty-bound to refuse to recognize a majority that has been secured through unconstitutional means. The scope of judicial review of the exercise of discretion by governor would necessarily extend to ensuring that the discretion was not exercised in a manner that disregarded the constitutional methods of securing the right to govern. But that decision of the governor is justiciable. All decisions of the governor are justiciable. So whether he could have administered an oath of office or not, in the context of the facts before you, is a matter that is to be decided by your lordships. And if that decision goes, everything goes. Yet admittedly, in the facts of the present case, there was no merger as envisaged under paragraph 4 of the 10th schedule. These rebel MLAs have not merged in any other political party or formed a new political party. Therefore, even if it is assumed that 2/3 strength of legislature party, para 4, is not at all attractive. The president of the Shiv Sena, Uddhav, had publicly and admittedly not aligned, supported the BJP. In these circumstances, the satisfaction of the governor for the purposes of calling upon respondent number 4 to be chief minister, as the head of 39 rebel MLAs of Shiv Sena, which is not endorsed by the Shiv Sena political party, is by itself ex facie unconstitutional. The Constitution prohibits recognition of rebel MLAs of a political party under the 10th schedule, and the action of the governor legitimizes what is expressly prohibited by the Constitution. The governor has sought to recognize what the Constitution prohibits. The governor is also not empowered under law to recognize who is the Shiv Sena. Who is the governor to say that? That is the domain of the Election Commission. Admittedly, recognition of the Shiv Sena and its leadership by Uddhav Thackeray has been endorsed by the Election Commission, and there is no dispute whatsoever or challenge before the appropriate authority as on 30th of June. In these circumstances, the governor in his ipsit dixit, guided by his political masters, acted mala fide, legally mala fide, I don't mean any other way, mala fide, and in the teeth of the provisions of the Constitution, granted de facto recognition to the 39 rebel MLAs by inviting respondent 4 to be the chief minister. It is submitted, Malas. I'll finish it tomorrow now. To not more than 10-15 minutes. I'm done, Malas.
Come back, we'll resume tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And we'll come back now for the next.
Yes, let's be obliged.